If you look at the modern fitness landscape, it seems like the line between natural and enhanced has been completely obliterated. Everywhere you look, you see physiques that possess an almost 3D, hyperhydrated, paper-thin skin look that was historically impossible without pharmaceutical assistance. But here is the physiological truth. You do not need anabolic steroids to manipulate your biology and create the visual illusion of being enhanced. By mastering the laws of biophysics, skeletal proportions, and intracellular osmotic pressure, you can force your body to mimic the exact visual markers of a pharmacologically assisted physique. Today, we are moving past the basic eat clean and lift heavy advice. We are diving deep into a clinical, evidence-based protocol designed to maximize your muscular aesthetics and symmetry, completely naturally. Part 1. The Architecture of Visual Massachusetts. Anabolic steroids build absolute tissue mass across the entire body, regardless of aesthetic balance. But the human eye does not calculate size using a weighing scale. It calculates size using contrast and proportions. Your brain is hardwired to process geometric shapes, not absolute mass. To look enhanced, we must shift our paradigm from building raw weight to mastering visual illusions. Take a look at the classic golden ratio or the Adonis index. This is governed by your biochromial to pelvis ratio, essentially your clavicle to waist dynamics. A natural lifter who weighs 170 pounds with a tight 28-inch waist and highly developed lateral deltoids will look significantly larger, more dominant, and more enhanced under a shirt than a 200-pound lifter with a blocky 36-inch waist. If your goal is visual impact, your training must reflect aesthetic muscle prioritization. You should allocate a disproportionate amount of your weekly training volume to the high-yield aesthetic zones: the lateral head of the deltoids, the clavicular portion of the pectoralis major, the upper chest, the latissimus dorsi for back width, and the teres major for upper back sweep. By hyper-targeting these areas, you artificially widen your upper frame while keeping your midsection tight, creating an immediate, dramatic V-taper that commands visual attention. Part 2. Sarcoplasmic volume and hydration chemistry. To understand why enhanced athletes look so dramatically different, we have to look inside the muscle cell. Muscle hypertrophy occurs via two main pathways: myofibrillar hypertrophy, which is the growth of contractile proteins, and sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, which is the expansion of the non-contractile, fluid-filled component of the muscle cell. Enhanced lifters look incredibly round and full because anabolic compounds dramatically increase nitrogen retention and glycogen storage, drawing massive amounts of water inside the cell. But we can manipulate this cellular hydrology naturally. By optimizing our cellular hydration chemistry, we can trigger intracellular osmotic swelling. This isn't under-the-skin bloating. This is intramuscular swelling. When a muscle cell is hyperhydrated, it stretches the muscle fascia, creating a permanent, round, spheroid shape. How do we achieve this state of constant muscle fullness? It comes down to cellular fuel management. This brings us to glycogen supercompensation. Glycogen is the storage form of carbohydrates within your skeletal muscles. The biophysical reality is simple. For every single gram of glycogen you successfully store in your muscle tissue, your body is chemically bound to pull approximately 3 to 4 grams of intracellular water along with it. If your muscles are depleted of glycogen, they look flat, soft, and small. If they are fully saturated, they look hard, dense, and full. To achieve a temporary supercompensated state, often used by fitness models before a shoot, you can utilize a peaking week protocol. For 3 days, you gently deplete your carbohydrate reserves while maintaining high training intensity. This upregulates the enzyme glycogen synthase. Then, over the next 48 hours, you load with 6 to 10 grams of carbohydrates per kilogram of body weight, combined with high water intake. Your depleted muscles act like dry sponges, aggressively pulling carbohydrates and water directly into the sarcoplasm, swelling your muscle bellies to their absolute biological limit. Part 3. Nitric oxide dynamics and vasodilation. Aside from sheer roundness, the second most prominent visual marker of an enhanced physique is extreme vascularity. When veins press up against the skin, it creates a high contrast, three-dimensional look that projects low body fat and intense density. This is regulated by nitric oxide, or NO, synthases. Nitric oxide relaxes the smooth muscle walls of your blood vessels, causing them to dilate. Under heavy physical exertion, this vasodilation maximizes blood flow to the working muscles, creating what we call the pump. Naturally upping your nitric oxide pathways not only pushes more oxygen-rich blood into the muscle for growth, but it physically forces the blood vessels to expand, pressing them directly against the thinner dermis layer of your skin. To achieve this state of chronic vasodilation, we have to target specific metabolic pathways. But before we talk about supplements, we must understand how to trigger this pump mechanically. Hypertrophy is governed by three distinct pathways: mechanical tension, metabolic stress, and microdamage. While heavy training drives mechanical tension, metabolic stress is the absolute king of the aesthetic pump. To maximize metabolic stress, you must focus on continuous tension. Do not let the muscle relax at the top or bottom of a movement. Force metabolic waste products, like lactate and hydrogen ions, to accumulate in the tissue. This traps blood inside the working muscle, leading to hypoxia, cellular swelling, and the release of localized, natural growth factors. As the Clinical Hypertrophy and Muscle Biomechanics Review states, conditioning, symmetry, and density will always conquer brute, unstructured mass. This is the ultimate golden rule. A natural athlete who is incredibly lean and highly conditioned will always look more impressive and larger than an unconditioned, chemically assisted lifter who is holding excess body fat and water. Part 4. The skin tightening visual trick. Your body fat percentage is the ultimate filter over your hard work. You can have the most developed muscles in the gym, but if they're covered by a layer of subcutaneous adipose tissue, you will look soft and blocky. The sweet spot for the natural enhanced look is a body fat percentage of roughly 8% to 10% for men and 16% to 18% for women. At this level of conditioning, you trigger what is visually known as skin-to-muscle adhesion. Because there is virtually no subcutaneous fat separating your skin from the muscle fibers, the skin tightly wraps around the muscle contours. This dramatic increase in definition creates deep separation between muscle groups, like the lateral delt separating from the triceps and chest, making your muscles appear drastically larger and sharper under any form of dynamic lighting. Part 5. The Scientific Supplement Protocol. To make this protocol actionable, we have compiled a clinical-grade, natural supplementation stack that targets every pathway we have discussed today. First, creatine monohydrate at a consistent dose of 5 grams daily. Creatine is not just for strength. It is a primary cellular hydrator. It upregulates phosphocreatine stores and draws water specifically into the muscle cell, adding 2 to 4 pounds of pure intracellular volume within weeks. Second, L-citrulline malate at a massive pre-workout dose of 8 grams. L-citrulline is a highly bioavailable precursor to L-arginine, bypassing liver metabolism to aggressively boost nitric oxide pathways, delivering intense vascularity and skin-splitting pumps. Third, the sodium and glycerol protocol. Consuming 2 grams of sodium with 1.5 grams of glycerol per kilogram of body weight with a liter of water hyperhydrates your blood plasma. This drastically increases your blood volume, filling out your blood vessels and creating incredible vascular pressure. Finally, pink Himalayan salt. Consuming 1 gram of raw mineral salt pre-workout optimizes action potentials along your nerve muscle pathways, leading to incredibly strong muscular contractions and a dry, high-density look. When we analyze the data on visual impact training methods, the results are clear. Traditional strength-only programs or powerlifting routines yield only a 45% aesthetic match because they do not prioritize proportions. They prioritize total body compound lifts, which often overdevelop the glutes and lower obliques, making the waist appear blocky. Cardio and fat loss programs improve visual contrast by dropping body fat, but they lack the sarcoplasmic fullness. The highest yielding aesthetic protocol is priority hypertrophy, focusing on the V-taper. By dedicating 95% of your programming energy to lateral deltoids, upper chest, and lat width, you build the absolute fastest natural illusion of being enhanced. Building an elite, aesthetic physique does not require you to sacrifice your health or turn to dangerous pharmaceuticals. It requires you to be a master of biological and physical laws. Focus on proportions, optimize your intracellular hydration, master metabolic training, and get incredibly lean. If you found this scientific breakdown valuable, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop your questions or your current training split in the comments below. Let's start your natural ascent. See you in the next video.